Good afternoon and welcome back to live streaming action from the Goldline U.S. Open Contender in Blaine, Minnesota. My name is Jerry Gertz of CurlingZone.com, and we are here with the Women's Championship Final. North Dakota's Rachel Workin taking on Delaney Strouse, Delaney herself of Midland, Michigan. These two teams have come here through the semifinals earlier this morning. This is our first broadcast of the day. Sheet C held open for both of the championship finals here. So we're here into the first end now. Down into the last of the skip stones. Team Workin throwing the red stones. Team Strouse with yellow. Rachel Workin, mechanical engineer from Fargo. Throws the last stones here for Team Workin. Right now, looks like she's just throwing up the guard, blocking access to the yellow on the side there. You can see the red in the back of the circles is shot stone right now. Look in the top right hand corner there for the overhead view of the house. You can see the red in the back there is the closest stone to the button. The intention here, you want to get as many of your colors as close to the middle as possible and count them all up at the end of throwing 8 stones each. Delaney Strouse of Midland, Michigan. Third, Leah Yavaro. Second, Sydney Mullaney. And lead, Rebecca Rogers. Team was last year's USA Junior National Champions. Unfortunately for the United States, they did not qualify for the World Championships last year. After being relegated, so there was no World Championships, but Team Strouse did compete at the U.S. National Championship, the adult division, and handled themselves very well there. Last stone here from Delaney Strouse, looking just to either stop in the 4-foot area, just get a little bit closer than that red stone. They can accomplish the same by touching the top yellow, but this is heavy and it looks like it's going to sail on through. That's going to be one red here in the first end. Team Workin is going to steal a single point as we get started here at the 2020 Goldline U.S. Open Contender. We'll be right back after these short messages. And we're back here, second end at the Goldline U.S. Open Contender. My name is Jerry Gertz of Curling Zone. It's been my pleasure to bring this coverage to everyone here this weekend who's tuned in. It's been a lot of fun to test this out, trying a couple new things, and it seems to be working fairly well. We had the curling Zoom party on last night, and that was a riot. We're having some fun with this and seeing what we can do. Our next planned streaming is going to be the Strouse Oakville, hopefully, as long as we can get it accomplished. We're setting up streaming for that. There's equipment on the way, so hopefully it gets here in time, and we can get it all ready and get that put out for you guys. The event will actually be held at the KW Granite Club in Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. As well, the Strouse Toronto event will be held the same weekend, the same place the next weekend. So it looks like we'll get some curling there. Hopefully everything looks like it's on pace to be good. Nothing is certain at this point, but we're doing our best to bring you some excellent curling with some very high caliber names showing up for the weekend as well, which I'm very excited about too. So it should be fun viewing. Back to the action here. This is the Women's Championship Final. Fargo's Rachel Workin taking on Midland's Delaney Strouse, Midland, Michigan, and Fargo, North Dakota. So when we look at this women's field here at the Goldline U.S. Open Contender, these events have been set up to give teams an opportunity to play more games and get good competition. A lot of the teams that typically play the B circuit and stuff, don't have as many opportunities to play, and they need to get the reps in to continue to get better. And you've got these types of teams here this week. Team Workin was middle of the pack at the U.S. Nationals last year. Madison Bear, another strong team of top junior athletes that just graduated. Kim Rhymes' team, another competitive team at the U.S. National Championships. And then, of course, we have the new market teams like Megan Thompson's team at Alpharetta, Georgia. You know, they came away winless here this week, but it was good to see they were competitive in a number of games and had their moments on the ice. And it was fun to watch a team from Georgia competing in a competitive tour event here. So, yeah, the future looks bright with the youth here in the United States. There's still a number of teams that are not playing right now, and just choice with the pandemic and everything going on. But with who is playing, this has been fun to see. So we do have some ambient noise from out on the rink. It sounds like we've solved our problem as to why that has disappeared. We've got some batteries on the way, and we'll be able to hear a little bit of the game out there as well. And there it is. So in their opening game, Team Workin defeated Madison Bears 6-5. Another win over Megan Thompson 10-6 to go to 2-0 to start. Their lone loss did come to Strouse in the fifth draw of the weekend, a 7-5 decision. A win over Kim Rhyme 9-7. Then back-to-back wins over Christine McMakin 9-4 in the round robin, and then 4-3 in the semifinal. And now here facing Delaney Strouse in the final. So fairly open end here. Strouse looking for the hit and roll here. Last of the third stones, Leah Yavaro. Pardon me if I have the matchup in the names, any of them incorrect. We're just kind of going off listed rosters here. The rest of Team Strouse, Sydney Mullaney at second, Rebecca Rogers at lead. Workin looking for the hit and roll inside here. Love to get this buried underneath that guard. Gets part way over, so it does make the hit and roll a little bit more difficult, and looks like Strouse is going to play it the other way. For Strouse, she's got a long way to roll there. It does keep the middle open. If she was to roll underneath the middle, it probably forces Workin to also draw around the middle underneath into the 4-foot, and now it really turns into a 4-foot game. Taking this roll across into the open side, even if Workin was to bury, she's got a chance to dig it out and maybe get her 2. So really smart call here. And we got a new look hooked up here for these final games. Thanks to John Benton, club manager and owner-operator, entrepreneur of Cold Granite Companies, managing this event and putting the U.S. Open Series together. There we go. And we can in fact see that Strouse rolled to a good spot there. They are shot stone. Workin does have an opportunity to play a hit and roll on the inside. The only unfortunate part of Strouse's shot, they did just roll a little bit too far to be perfect, because a good roll here could roll this in underneath that corner. Good news for Strouse, though. Even if this shot's made, she's going to have lots of room to try and score in the 4-foot yet. The middle's not going to be all congested, and she's going to have room to work in there, which is really the key to having success with the hammer nowadays. Really nice shot coming up here to hit the roll inside. So at this point, there's going to be points put on the board. So Team Strouse needs to find a way to get 2. Sorry, this is the last shot. I apologize. So yeah, last rock draw here. Again, should be a fairly comfortable draw to the 4-foot. This is the type of shot I expect Delaney to make pretty much every time. Now, of course, it is September curling as well, so we're working out the rust. First games on the ice for these teams. So getting started here and see what kind of season we end up with. A little positive on the release. The sweepers don't like it here. Yeah, they're sweeping now, trying to rub the guard, and that's just too much. And this is going to slide through. So that will be a steal of 2 for Team Workin. They will take a 3-0 lead here now after 2 ends at the Goldline U.S. Open Contender in Blaine, Minnesota. We've been streaming all weekend here at the Four Seasons Curling Club. Of course, the video coming from Blaine, but I'm in London, Ontario, Canada, in the Curling Zone studios. We'll be right back. And we're back here with the third end. Strouse with the corner guard up. Good position again here. Open house. You see how this young team, they have not panicked yet here. And this is a good mentality for a team like this. Go out there, just go get your deuce back. Get yourself back in control of the game. Of your game at least. You know, get a force, get two more, and now it's tie game. So you just got to try and fight your way back into the game at this point. And for Workin's team, they're playing a little bit defensive here. They do have the opportunity to keep the pressure on and keep attacking. Rachel Workin, part of the recent U.S. national mixed champions. We do have two men's semifinals going on right now. Corey Dropkin is taking on Kevin Tuma, I believe it is. It is Kevin Tuma, U.S. Junior National runner-up last season. And Rich Ruonen is taking on Daryl Sobering, a rematch of the game we showed on Saturday morning, where Rich Ruonen won the A qualifier. So that's a rematch there for those two teams. Daryl Sobering out of Denver, Colorado, and Rich Ruonen out of Chaska, Minnesota, here in the Twin Cities. Patient game here out of Team Strouse. Again, Workin is lying 2 right now, but the middle is open. So the risk should be low here for Team Strouse. Now they're looking for some good shots, though, and a good place to start would be this draw around the corner guard. Get this buried kind of close to corner frozen on the red one, and they'll have a great shot. And a great chance at 2. But this is going to come up short. And that's a really challenging spot to leave that, with that rock underneath buried. You can't really promote it as it's a quarter tucked under there, so it's hard to raise. So Workin is asking, I think we're into second stones here. Sydney Delaney looking for the draw around the yellow there to sit like top 8, top 12. This looks pretty good. Nice line. Sorry, second on Team Workin is Ann Podol. My apologies, Ann. And an excellent shot there. Really well placed. Strouse is going to try and make the looks like a draw around there. It's a little bit in between for the amount of ice. It looks like it might not be enough for a draw. And this looks heavy. Just slides through to the back of the 12 foot. Red currently sitting 3. Looking to get this just around, really put the pressure on here. Where that rock ended up in the top of the rings was a really good place. I'm going to try and play this hit and roll off this redstone here. I'm going to try and roll under as far as you can, even all the way across to the other red one. And that just curls up a little bit too much. Nose hit there. Now for Workin. Nose hit on that yellow. We'll block off the path. Team Workin third. Lexi Lanigan with Ann Podol on the front end and Christine Lammers on the brushes here. Looking for the hit and roll. They just want to roll a bit of about a rock inside, block off the pathway. This is the first of the skip stones here in the third end. And that just rolls a little bit too far, so this opens the door here for Delaney Strouse if she can make a nice draw around that top 8 stone. You got 2 rocks to come, so if you can make a good draw, it doesn't need to be fully buried around. A quarter tucked would be great. Need to get this around. Hard on the sweep here. This might have a chance. That's just a couple feet light. 3-4 more feet of weight, and that would have been great. Fortunately now, that blocks off the draw path, and Team Workin is going to throw a guard top 12 rock in there to make it even more difficult for Strouse to get into the rings. And as we've seen on the sheet all weekend, going wide is a real hard shot here. It's a bit of a guess trying to figure out how much extra weight you need to throw. So the pressure may be on here shortly for Strouse. The Workin team has certainly come to play today. They're going to try and bring this as tight as possible. They'd love to get it in and count, because coming a little deep is fine. But it will push Delaney Strouse out real wide to try and make her last shot. If they can put this in the right place. You absolutely can't be deep here and give her a hit. So that's why you want to make sure that you put this in a good spot. And there you go. That's a really nice stone out of Rachel Workin. Last stone to come here. Third end. Delaney Strouse needs a good piece of the 8-foot to score. Anything touching 8 foot will count down the damage. This rock is really sliding here. It's gonna hold on. Looks like steal a 2 potentially. Just a hair too far for 2. Would have been 1 otherwise. If that stopped on the tee line, would have been great. And we're back here. Fourth end. Team Workin leads 5-0 after another steal in the third end, this time 2. Delaney Strouse drawing against 3 and was just a little bit too heavy. So now here to the fourth end, Strouse still has the hammer. They're looking to get something going here. And Strouse still has the hammer. First rock goes deep. For Workin, that first stone going into the rings was a must. Up 5-0. Now it's time thinking of a little bit of defense. For Strouse, they've set up some really good ends. They kind of got away from them in the third end there, where a couple shots in the middle of the end were missed and some really nice makes on the other side. So that left a very tough situation for Strouse by the time she got up to throwing. But coming into that end, and again, they're just looking for a nice setup here. You just want to get a 2, maybe a 3 if you can get a little bit of a mistake, put a little bit of extra pressure on here, and that can get you just right back in this game. Trying to bring this rock right up into the top of the 4-foot. Really nice throw there by Leadstone. We have Christina Lammers listed at lead. So with that corner guard up, they were looking to try and get around. Comes up a little bit short here. Of course, the final here of the Goldline US Open Contender is being played under pandemic conditions. Currently, the curlers are asked to wear masks for all games throughout the entire time on the ice, in the building. They are using one sweeper, while the second sweeper can be in action. They can help with judging weight, they can time stones, and it's certainly a good support there on a lot of shots where having this communication and somebody to banter back and forth with really helps. So you see there the sweeper, she's up and ahead a little bit, helping with the weight, the judgment. Just an extra set of eyes, as the second sweeper on the stone really doesn't affect it nearly as much as the first sweeper. It's something in the 70 to 80% range where the effectiveness of the sweeping is done by the first sweeper. So if you can actually add to the effectiveness of the sweeping by helping judge and understanding where you got to go, then that can really add to things too. I hope everyone is enjoying this, following along on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe, hit the like notification on Facebook if you're watching on there. Hit the bell on YouTube so that we'll let you know when we're up next. Team Workin looking to dig this yellow out, roll to the outside, out of the way there. Really nice shot. So it looks like Strouse is going to play the draw here. Again, this is the situation, that red stone up there. A lot of young teams might hit that, try and make that roll. But again, a very mature call here out of the Strouse team. They're certainly struggling with their execution a little bit here in this game. They have been 6-0 on the weekend, coming in with wins over Christine McMakin, Madison Bear. They beat Workin 7-5, a win over Megan Thompson 7-1, and then Kim Rhyme 9-2 in the last game of the round robin. And then this morning, Strouse dropped Bear 11-3. So they've had a great week here. Just coming up a little bit short in the final against the more experienced Workin team. Leah Yavro here looking for the draw around. Wants to get this buried onto the forefoot. That's in a pretty good spot. A little bit of a teasing spot here for Workin. They kind of have to forced into a draw now. She can make a good shot here. Get to the corner freeze on the inside. If she makes a great shot, the end is probably over here, and it's going to be a steal likely, or at best a struggle and a fight to get one for Strouse. But you got to kind of put the pressure on, and that's what Strouse has done here when you're down 5-0. This rock here, it's going to redirect in underneath, but it is short of being shot. And there's some room now here for Strouse to get a second one in there. They can get this draw through that port. They're going to have to be pretty close to the yellow to get by the red. Looking to draw one right into the top four here. This looks pretty good with weight. Really nice spot. Slides right into the top of the four. A slight bump. But the angle in there is locked and buried. Big time shot there by Team Strouse third Leah Yavaro. Looks like Workin is going to just kind of draw down on top, try and take away a shot for three here. Maybe come in with a little bit more weight. Yeah, this looks more like backline. If they can get around and give it a bit of a tap, they might be able to bump one of those two yellows out of the forefoot. A little wide out there, sweeping to curl. It's moving, just not quite enough. So that looks like it's going to leave a draw for 3. Sorry, 3 more stones to go here. This is Delaney Strouse's first. Again, down 5-0. If she can bury another one underneath, now all of a sudden there's the potential for 4 here. You want to make sure you leave this in a position you don't corner lock on the top, though, and leave the triple possible. Sweepers are just waiting for this one. It's coming across. Oh, that might have come. Sorry again, everyone. Calling it off the live monitor. We are streaming this live from the Curling Zone Studios in London, Ontario, Canada. Of course, picking up the feed from Blaine, Minnesota, and the Four Seasons Curling Club here. This has been the Goldline U.S. Open Contender. My name is Jerry Gertz of CurlingZone.com. It's been my pleasure to bring this coverage all weekend long. Please, if you've had the opportunity, be sure to like, comment, share. Share this on your friends list on Facebook. Let them know you're watching curling. Bring them on in. Let's bring some new fans in here. All that certainly helps us get some support and potentially find some sponsors and hopefully be able to enhance our coverage of this season, as we're going to try and do a lot more storytelling, write and do interviews and videos as well, and tell the curling stories that are out there this year, as many of the big events have been canceled. The Grand Slams, the Pacific Asia Championships, the European Championships, the Canada Cup has been postponed as well. So at this point, there doesn't look to be anything on television scheduled. So we've got this opportunity to cover these events as best we can. So looking forward to being able to provide that coverage and be able to still watch a little bit of curling. Looking for the hit here. If Workin can hit what she can see, she can make all 3 of those yellows move and maybe leave the rings. Coming with big weight. Hard on the sweep. Just wrecks on the top guard, and oh goodness. That is going to leave Delaney Strouse lying 4 now in the forefoot. And it's going to leave her the draw here to tie this game up at 5. Wow. Unfortunate break there from Team Workin. Wow, turning point here in the 4th end. Last stone here, 4th end. Needs to just glide this into the pocket there. It's got backing to work with. And a shot to score 5 and even this match up here after 4 ends. And it looks good. Well, now, this was looking like a runaway game for Team Workin. But a couple nice draws there out of Leah Yavaro hooking them around, and then Delaney Strouse. And a fortunate break on the last Workin shot leaves a 5 spot here for Team Strouse. We're all tied after 4 ends at the halfway break here. And we're back here, 5th end. All even at 5 now. Just waiting for that scoreboard update. Huge turning point in the game there as Team Strouse makes a couple really nice draws around the middle late in the end. And then a fortunate break on a run back or on a triple attempt, wrecked on the front, and then chipped one of the Strouse stones closer to the middle, leaving Delaney Strouse the draw for 5 with her last. My name is Jerry Gertz of CurlingZone.com. I'd like to thank you for tuning in. It's been my pleasure to bring you this coverage here on the from the Goldline U.S. Open Contender. Here we're playing out of the Four Seasons Curling Club in Blaine, Minnesota. Definitely been an interesting game between these two teams. Strouse undefeated coming into the game, so it was a bit surprising to see them struggle early, but they're certainly fighting back now. Not quite certain what the call was there, whether that was a tick shot attempt that overcurled. I don't believe they were trying to curl it across the face, so it looks like it curled a lot more than they were expecting it to there. So it does open it up a little bit. 4-foot is open. So now Strouse is going to throw this guard back up again. Workin gets the hammer here. For the first time in the game, they'll have the last rock advantage in the end. That steal of 1 in the first, 2 in the second, 2 more in the third. Put Workin out to a 5-0 lead, and then boom, Delaney Strouse comes back with 5 in the fourth end. For Workin, they get the yellow stones all moving. Didn't quite see exactly how that happened. I hope everyone at home was paying attention. Whatever happened, this is a good result here for Workin. Only her stones out front. Strouse looking for the draw around the outside here, having to go real wide again. I really like this call out of Rachel Workin here. You know, you could play a tap here. You could kind of open up that middle, or sorry, just promote a stone into the rings and try and get your 2 that way. But the challenge is that hitting this perfect is not always the easiest. Leaving it open could leave a hit and roll. And then there's an opportunity to leave your opponent the rock to hit and roll buried off of. So playing this opens the middle, gives her the 4-foot for her last to score. But the plan B here is to run it onto the side, get rid of that stone, and keep her shooter somewhere. Exactly like that. Really smart call. And really well executed as well. That was Sydney Delaney on the second stones here for team... Sorry, Ann Podol again. Sorry, Ann, that's twice. Not again. But yeah, really nice shot there, execution as well. Just to trust the broom, throw through it, and make sure you hit a thin enough slice of that stone to put it onto that yellow stone. Now the middle's open. Workin's got 2 corner guards to work with, and a chance here to get a 2 fairly low risk. Strauss Rock in the rings. Lexi Lanigan in the hack here. Looking for this hit and roll. It's going to be close. Just a roll's a little bit too far. Hello, Sue Cassidy. Sorry, let me try that again. Hello, Sue Cassidy. Welcome to the show. Curling says hello back to you. It's been so much fun to bring this coverage. Maybe if Sue Cassidy wants to come join the broadcast, we'd certainly welcome her to come stream along here. Of course, Sue joined us last night for some of our curling Zoom party. Her Ramoli party followed up afterwards. And as she's reporting, it was a resounding success. Sue Cassidy, one of my favorite people in the sport, has such a passion for the sport, and that color comes out, and you know what? It's amazing to see what she's been a part of with the OC Curling Club in Anaheim, California, there, Orange County, and they've got their new facility curling out of the Ducks arena in Irvine. Still an arena club down there, but it's a really fun crew. Workin trying to use those corner guards here, just bounces a little bit out into the open. It's going to leave Strouse a chance to hit and roll under here. First of the skip stones, 4 to come now. Loves to get that roll, but just hits it on the nose. Again, another very open middle of the end here. Really nice approach here by the Workin team. And that run a couple shots ago that you saw where she ran the center stone onto the side stone, that set up this whole opportunity here. At this point, there's very little risk of a steal. A nice shot here, and a great chance at 2 for Rachel Workin. Her team out of Fargo, North Dakota. Looking for the hit and roll under. Just doesn't quite get enough of a roll, so it's going to leave Strouse the chance to put the favor back here. Can put a lot of pressure on Team Workin if she can make a good roll buried underneath. Again, this is close. It's moving just a little. Still makes it a little bit harder. It's a little bit of a teaser there on the edge. Workin can see all of it, but she's just going to have to be a little bit careful with that guard. Last stone here, looking for the nose hit to stay. It's a race on the edges there, and it looks like steal of 1. Delaney Strouse will take their first lead here in the game. getting a single point steal here in the fifth end. Just a little bit up on that weight out of Rachel Workin on her last. Didn't curl enough and rolled out. Got a little fortunate, removing another one of the backstones at the same time. So we'll head to the sixth end. Strouse up 6-5. And we're back here with the sixth end. Strouse up first here. Rebecca Rogers throwing lead stones here. Looking to keep the pressure on. It's been quite an exciting game from the start here. Workin jumped out to the early lead, but Strouse has come storming back now, taking the lead here after the fifth end. Looking for the tick shot here. Hard on the sweep. Gets the curl over. Great shot. Splits open that middle there. That tick shot keeps the middle open, with Strouse wanting to keep the pressure on. Now Workin with a wide corner to work with, play a low risk end here. Looks like Strouse is going to throw up another center. She wants to keep this at least halfway. Any tighter than that, and the chip shot now rolls the shooter into the rings as well. You want this to stop. Just comes a little bit too deep. Workin looking for the same shot. Out of lead, Christina Lammers. Now, this time, the tick and roll will take her into the rings underneath the corner guard, potentially. And that's another great-looking shot here. And rolls it, tucks it right underneath that corner guard. Great shot. That roll from Strouse just goes a little bit too far. Leaves Workin the chance to draw and split the rings here. That roll from Strouse just goes a little bit too far. And a nice spot there for that shot. There is no double off the other one, as the top stone would jam on the yellow. So they're forced to just hit the back one now. And again, a really nice setup here from Team Workin. Wide open end. Corner guards in play. And they're playing for a pretty low risk too here. The upside remains as well with those corner guards if they can make a good shot. This one here likely now settling soon for a deuce. Strouse looking to roll to the middle and try and group those stones. The idea is that if you get them over there, you might be able to get a double at some point later in the end. Strouse would really like to stay here. Prevent Workin from using those corner guards again. Really got to go on this one. The rollout on that shot. Team Workin's going to try and draw and split the rings again. Another chance to get feel for draw weight here. Leah Yavaro throwing third stones. No, sorry. This would be Team Workin third. Lexi Lanigan throwing third. Sorry. And a really nice shot here from Lexi Lanigan. Not much here for Strouse. She's just got to hit this and take her medicine. Ideally, she'd love to roll to a place. Make Workin have to play a hit and take a chance of her rolling out. The long roll also a possibility here. Looks real good. Trying to hold this line. They got the chance to try and roll this all the way across the rings. Hard on the sweep. Hard on the roll. And that buries underneath the red stone. Wow, what a shot. That was Leah Yavaro with that third stone of the end. I believe that was her last rock. Each player throws 2. Total of 8 for each team. And Bark, the arena mascot, sounding off in the background. He approved of that shot as well. So now for Rachel Workin, after that amazing shot, she's looking to try and respond here. Wants to try and dig out that yellow stone. If she can get around her red, just move that yellow back a couple feet. Chance for the 2 still. Just a little bit of over curl there. That gets by. That would have been great. Instead, Strouse still remaining shot there. Now the question for Strouse is where to put this shot to try and put some more pressure on Team Workin. But at the same time, she's got to be careful she doesn't leave a double either. Workin still threatening for a 3 here. Needs to keep this in the 8-foot. It's going to slide a little too deep. That is a not a good shot. It's going to give Team Workin here the chance to play this run back. She can promote her own stone onto the yellow in the back. Her shooter should just roll out into the open. Chance for a 3 here on Workin's last shot of the 6th end. Big shot here. Game is on the line. Little up. A little bit more than they were looking for. Just doesn't quite curl enough. Misses the back one by a whisker. Shooter rolls out. And that will be a steal of 1 for Delaney Strouse. Adds another point now. 7 in a row here to take a 7-5 lead over Rachel Workin. We're heading to the 7th end of the Goldline US Open Contender here in Blaine, Minnesota. And we're back here. 7th end. Steal for for Delaney Strouse. Now leads 7-5. Score on the ticker will update momentarily for you. So for the Workin team, they've had some really good ends set up. And then there's been some great shots out of the Strouse team. That end, a hit and roll by Leah Yavero, rolling all the way across the rings, burying underneath the corner rocks. Essentially taking away the deuce from Workin. Amazing shot. So now if we're working, it's just more of the same. Trying to set up a good end here. And again, looks like the middle is going to be open for them. They have a corner guard up. Sort of a tough spot there for Strouse. They kind of have to go in because that rock's behind the tee line. Throwing a guard on this is a little bit difficult, but then you consider the guard because coming in leaves this hit and roll for Workin to get one underneath the corner guard. Again, really love the setups that this Workin team has. They've definitely had their chances this game. On this shot, the double is less important than the hit and roll. You'd love to make the double here, but if you can keep your shooter on the rings and counting on the side there, it'll likely force Strouse to make a play on it, and that'll open up that corner guard for you to utilize on your next shot. So Strouse is going to hit that and try and roll back to the middle. Considering the guard here, it's an aggressive call. They settle for the hit and roll. Looking for the long roll all the way across. This looks like it might curl too much. Roll too much. He pops out on the open on the other side. That's a rock that's on the tee line. It's not really a stone that Workin is concerned about. And now she's got that corner guard to work with up top. They are going to play the hit and roll here. Looking for a hit and roll under the corner guard. The only concern I have for Team Strouse here is that it will set a pocket under the corner. Execution is looking really good here. Makes that roll underneath. Team Workin, looking for the draw. A little bump on the yellow. Move it back a couple inches is great too. Try and sit shot underneath that corner guard with backing. Lexi Lanigan, third stones for Team Workin. And Podol hard on the sweep here. Wants to bump this just a little. Really nice shot. Workin now sitting shot, under cover. Putting the pressure on here. This is Leah Yavaro. Her response. Strouse a little heavy on that last one. Team Strouse. The bounce off out into the open leaves this double here. Hit and roll for Team Workin. Rachel Workin throwing her first stone here, the 7th end. Rolls in. Almost corner frozen to the yellow. Looks like red is lying one, that yellow stone, in a dangerous position, though, or a precarious position, sorry. The overhead there showing yellow second shot, just biting the 4-foot. And it looks like they're going to come talk about this. Trying to figure out where to put this stone. You don't want to disturb your own if you can help it, because it is out counting the second red counter there, you can see. Some exciting news just announced on Twitter. Two Girls in a Game are back with their season 6 premiere episode. Sounds like it's going to hit the podcast airwaves tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Looks like they've settled on a shot here. Going to play a little bit more weight at this one. If they could ever just hit that top red one first, I might be able to move both those reds out of the danger position there. We'll see. Key shot. Last stone here for Strouse. Workin's got one more, trying to get a big score here. Strouse with her last. This looks real good. Just gets to the inside and stays corner frozen to the top red. Wow, what another great shot out of Team Strouse there. Delaney Strouse throwing that one there. Looks like she's locked it on. Wow, that may even take the deuce away here from Team Workin. So now they're looking at this, wondering whether if you throw some weight at it, hit it on the nose, and maybe you can make all three yellows fly. Still in the end for Strouse, a good shot there to eliminate the three in this end. And that's really the key here. Giving up two, with two to go, giving up a deuce in the seventh. You'll be coming home with hammer tied. That's the position you want to set you up for the win in the end. Really taking some time looking this over. Of course, you can only see about half of that yellow. Maybe 2/3. If you get by tight on that guard, you may be able to remove, get that yellow bouncing and make that triple. Still looking at this shot here. It's been a pretty significant conversation. Game is on the line here. There's another option on the other side as well. They're looking at whether if you hit the yellow on the outside, maybe catch the red a hair first, you could actually make the triple the other way. Get them all flying. And that shot is fully open. Where you need to hit it, you can see it all. You see there, you can see probably an inch or two of the red stone. Hitting that much on this shot is probably too much. Your shooter would spin up over the top. It's probably the best chance at 2 for Rachel Workin here. The hit on the yellow, it's going to be hard to know whether she's going to get enough momentum without losing the shooter rolling across the other side of the forefoot. Last shot to come, 7th end here. Rachel Workin with the big weight attempt. away she goes. Last rock, 7th end. Workin trails Strouse by 2, looking for the double. And hits the top one first, a little too thick. Does wiggle the stone in for shot. So that'll be a single point here for Team Workin. They now trail 7-6 to Delaney Strouse, heading to the 8th end here at the Goldline US Open Contender. Welcome back. 8th end about to start here. Time to come up with a game plan for Team Workin. Double center guards likely in play. This is the Women's Championship Final here at the Goldline US Open Contender. My name is Jerry Gertz of Curling Zone. It's been a pleasure to bring this coverage all weekend from the Four Seasons Curling Club in Blaine, Minnesota. Blaine, part of the greater Twin Cities area and the North End. The US Open events, Contender, and Championships, and the new mixed doubles event are hosted and run by Cold Granite Companies. Owner, president, and 2010 Olympian John Benton has been building these events as part of a larger curling business focused on growth. John has long been coaching adults and juniors and is now sponsoring a number of emerging and established teams. Teams Tuma, Seneca, Burr, Hebert are just a few. Cold Granite also works in facility consulting. John has been sharing his experience in opening 4 seasons to help other dedicated facilities get off the ground. Cold Granite is totally focused on growing the game. Thanks again to John Benton for all the work in getting this event off the ground. Cameron Rittenauer and Evan Workin as well. They've been tasked to help run the event this weekend and really have done a great job organizing this. We have one more draw to follow this, the men's final to come. Right now, the men's games, the semifinals are in the 7th ends. Corey Dropkin and Kevin Tuma tied at 3. Dropkin with the hammer there in the 7th, and Rich Ruinen a 7-4 lead over Daryl Sobering. So looking forward to bringing you that final later this afternoon. I think we'll have about a half-hour break, maybe an hour break after we're done here, and then we'll be back with the men's final. So, of course, the first tick shot made. Rebecca Rogers with a great first stone. Delaney Strouse with a second here. Looking for another tick from her lead stone, Rebecca Rogers. Sydney Mullaney on the sweep. Just trying to hold it enough when it hits this real thin. Spins the shooter over. Looks like it's into the rings. The red is in the rings on the other side. Great shot. Those are 2 potential game winners out of Rebecca Rogers there, setting up Team Strouse for the open end here in 8. So for Team Workin now, they're just resigned to throwing guards. They're just looking for a mistake here. They need a nose hit. Workin will throw a few out front. You got to give the other team a chance to nose hit one. There's still enough stones go here. Try and throw it a little higher is better. You might get a jam off of something in the back. And if you ever get them to ignore it, which is unlikely, you know, throwing something just over the hog line here is not a bad option, because it makes the peel difficult, and if they do ignore it, you can put another guard around it. This one is looking really good. Stay on it, get it over the hog line here. Looks pretty good here. So you see how high that stone is now. Half a stone on either side will jam on something on the side and potentially bounce back to the middle. So Team Strouse has to be careful with this peel. Does bounce that a little bit closer to the middle. It is going to shrink down the scoring area a little bit for Strouse. Just looking for small improvements here. Edge your stones a little closer to the middle. Right now for Workin, her goal is to try and lie 2 on her last and force Strouse to look at the loss. Another well-played guard. Strouse is looking for another peel here. Leah Yavaro with the delivery here. Her first to the 8th end. Makes it go away. Avoids the jam. They will just continue to trade guards and peels here in the middle. There is still the odd nose hit at this level, so you kind of got to give them a chance to do it for you. But again, Leah Yavaro is perfect. And gets the other stone to go at the same time too. Takes the bonus away. And now for Workin, that is going to make this even more difficult. This is when you consider going away from the center guard. Now try and make that draw around the corner and hide your first stone. Force them to chase you. And then maybe you'll get a chance to lie your second stone somewhere a little closer to the middle. Working with the center guard, her first of 2 skip stones. Just comes a little bit deep, but that's still in a good spot. If you get the nose hit there, you can still bury one top of the button. The difference in depth is something to consider too. There's just a little bit more curl that much further into the circles. And yet again, Delaney Strouse, another nice shot here. Makes it go away, and it's an open circles now for Team Workin to try and find a place to hide. Needs to be shot in the rings to force Strouse to throw her last. Looking for a draw around those corners. Just wants to put this somewhere to force Strouse into a draw on her last. Going deep here is okay. You just want to be buried. It looks like Strouse is going to be able to see most of this. So the question will be whether she throws the hit at it or throws the draw. Last stone, 8th N. Midland, Michigan's Delaney Strouse. Just needs to make this go away for the win. Take down the Goldline US Open Contender, and this needs to curl. Just catches enough. Pushes it out of the rings. That will be a blank end here in the 8th, meaning a 7-6 win for Delaney Strouse in the US Open Contender, sponsored by Goldline. I really like to thank the teams for participating. It's been an amazing weekend here at the Four Seasons Curling Club in Blaine, Minnesota. Thanks to John Benton, Cameron Rittenauer, Evan Workin for their work in getting this event off the ground as well. It's been amazing to see the curlers, and we'd like to really thank the curlers for putting in all the precautions to try and make this as safe an event as possible. Wearing masks is certainly a challenge out on the ice, and I'm sure we'll hear some reaction to it after this weekend. We're going to talk to some of the curlers and see the thoughts and how that feels to them. But we really appreciate their support in helping make this possible and then still putting the games into play. My name's Jerry Gertz of Curling Zone, and it's been my pleasure to bring this final and the event to you this weekend. We'll be back shortly with the men's championship final. We're still waiting on a matchup there. Looks like the team's playing the 7th end. So we should be back in about an hour with the men's championship final. That should put us about 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern. But until then, everyone take care